I do not understand.
Good morning and welcome to Things That Roger Doesn't Understand on the Inglorious Bastards.
A very long list.
Well, and I was listening to Dallas Willard this morning, and he quoted someone as saying, "When you believe in things you don't understand, it causes suffering." I'm like, that's interesting. I've got to think about that one.
No, that's a line from the song, very superstitious. When you believe in things you can't understand. Very superstitious.
Very superstitious.
This is what he. I'm sorry. You were listening to Dallas.
Well, I'm just saying,
He's
that's
passed
something
away.
I have to.
How are you listening to Dallas?
So we're listening
Are you
to
channeling him?
No, we were listening to his book Hearing God, which is also in the book form right there.
You were listening to it.
But listening to it, yeah, Marlene. Oh boy, it's not working. The blur features
does not like
help.
books.
Doesn't help. No, Marlene got me onto Audible stuff, so I'll listen to. I think it's called Evernote, but it's
okay.
So I'm reading the book and listening to the book. What's great about it is when you're teaching from a book like that, or you're doing a book study, you can listen to it several times. Plus, when you read it, you're making all your notes and stuff like that. And then I make my own handwritten notes. It's a little bit hard to make handwritten notes when you're driving in the car, but it's more like hen scratch at that point. But I'm like, oh, I need to remember that. That's the only problem with Audible. Because I like to take notes. I'll write in the margin of books a thing that I thought about, or what this reminds me of, or whatever else. So. But yeah, that was the whole hearing God thing.
Okay.
Good stuff. So the reality that God speaks conversationally to his people. Because the subtitle of the book is Developing a Conversational Relationship with God. Very, very good book. Yeah. One of my top 10s. I have all my coaching clients, if they're in the Premier program, I have them read that book. I have them read 6 books, but that's one.
Let the plugs begin.
Well, I realize
Bruce is our new sponsor.
I need to compile I am. And no, Exciting Travel Adventures will be the new sponsor. We'll spend Marlena's money. That'll be great.
Yes, do our listeners know that she's the new CEO of...
She is the new LLC owner of Exciting Travel Adventures, and now I work for her.
Yes, that's a beautiful thing.
So Born to be Wild is now a contractor of Born to be Wild, which you can sort of see on my ad, of Exciting Travel Adventures. The Exciting Travel Adventures being more what we do internationally and stuff like that. And Marlena's hopefully going on 2 trips with me this year. Patagonia in November, and we've already got tickets to Spain. Our airline tickets to Spain in August.
All right.
So 60 miles of walking on the Camino Santiago, otherwise known as the Way.
That's interesting. I think I could.
You've heard about the Way. Well, you and Troy ought to go. I'm looking for 5 more people. It's super fun. It's not an expensive trip.
When is that?
Last week of August. Could be for your birthday.
Okay.
What are you turning? 65?
65. Yeah, the big 65.
It's the big 65. Medicare.
I've got to make a decision.
Spain trip. Yeah, you only have I think a 3-month window to jump in on Medicare.
3-month window before or 3. So it's a 6-month window, I think. Okay. 3 months before, after.
Don't miss it, or it costs you bad.
It does.
Hey, congratulations, 65. That's a big deal. I mean, you're not there yet.
Well, what was the bummer for me or us? I mean, is discovering, realize, okay, when I get on Medicare, I thought, well, currently we're in the marketplace insurance, and because of our income, the stipend we get covers so we don't actually pay for insurance. But with Medicare, we will begin paying for insurance for the first time in quite a few years.
Yeah, so I think I'm just going with Plan A, where you pay nothing. I'm just that big pay nothing guy. Figure out the rest. If you go Plan B, it's going to cost you $220 a month, I think.
And then they've got supplemental to help cover the gap. And all that. Yeah, it's
C and D, and it's just
everyone wants to make more money. For sure. Yeah, that's...
Well, part of what Marlene and I are learning right now is the importance of, how the body heals. We're learning a lot from this lady. What did I say her name was?
I do not know.
I always forget in the last moment. She's great. 72-year-old, Seventh-day Adventist lady. Really sweet. She's from Australia.
Okay.
Wow. Anyway, but we're learning a lot about how the body heals itself, and that God created the body to heal itself. Right. So we're doing a lot more. We made this comfrey salve this week, which is the whole thing. But the comfrey plant was called the bone knitter back in the day. Literally, they're don't use this salve or this poultice if you break a leg and haven't had it set yet, because it will mend it in the place that it is. It's like
Okay.
ridiculously fast acting healing. So what it does is it increases cellular reproduction,
Okay.
multiplies it like at crazy levels. Anyway, so in using that on my knee, I've been using the bike. There's a stationary bike behind me. I have one at home, and God's been faithful. And it's getting better and better. I walked 9 holes carrying a bag last week, no problem.
Excellent.
So life is good. But she also is the one that changed my diet, the way that I eat. And I realize I feel better, my mood is better, I'm more clear thinking. My naps in the afternoon, I used to take an hour night long nap, sometimes 15, 20 minutes now.
Mm.
Well, because when you take out refined sugars and all that stuff, sugars and refined flours,
These things that drug you.
and I weighed this week, Roger. It was shocking. You know what the new number is?
Well, you told me a number a week ago, so
It's lower.
okay.
162.
Really?
So now I'm having to do strength conditioning because it'll start eating away at your muscle at a certain point. So now I'm having to do strength exercises while I'm on the bike. I'm doing like all these things. I'm doing the Tai Chi stuff.
I haven't been 162 since the Carter administration.
I'm not sure you were 162
Literally.
in the Carter administration. What was that? Late 70s? 76 to 80.
What I remember is all through high school, I was 155. I just remember 155 I was 155 forever
You are so much bigger than me.
until I wasn't.
Well, I think when I got married, I was 132. At points in high school, I remember being about 119. When I was running a lot, I got down to 119.
Really? Okay.
Running is not good for weight.
Yes.
You start.
Okay.
Well, Dave, I wonder what David weighs.
No, I'm
He's
curious.
probably
Yeah.
145.
Who knows? He's pure
Something
muscle.
pure muscle. There's no.
I so hate him.
I love him so much. He's my hero, and I'm trying to be like him. So we did come to talk about music today, Rod.
A song. Yes, we're going to do a song. We're going to talk about a song.
And Roger, always the one that just believes in preparation is like the best, sends me at about 5 o'clock this morning his song idea.
You know what happened?
The good news is I did not recognize the title or the band, and I knew the song and could repeat all the lyrics.
I felt like that would be the case. By the way,
I was shocked.
I noticed at 5 this morning, I looked at my text and I realized I had sent you I had created the text to send to you
I
yesterday.
didn't send it.
And I didn't get send.
Roger, I did that
I'm
last week.
64.
We're so old. It's like once we write the text, we're like, it's gone.
Right. So I actually
put it out there.
I sent it to you yesterday. I get it. I'm at 5 this morning. I look at it and I realize it's not been sent.
It's still down there in the chat box.
But it is a group, fascinatingly, that folks may not have heard about, but
they also make spring water.
It is they've been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the song we're going to talk about has been put in the Grammy Hall of Fame, which I didn't realize without looking at the group is Buffalo Springfield. Yes, that classic group you listen to and their 1966 classic. It is their signature song.
Where the lyric is found nowhere in the song. The name of the song is found nowhere in the lyrics of the song, which is the first timer for me. Almost always the lyric is in there somewhere.
Oh,
okay. In the song title.
Yes.
The lyric typically comes out.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that at all.
People searching for that song. No one's searching for What It's Worth, which is the name of the song, by the way.
For What It's Worth.
But I would say, I would have looked at Stop, Children, What's That Sound?
Right.
Or Something Happening Here. Going Down. There's 100 ways I would have looked it up, but not For What It's Worth.
Oh, right. Right.
But even the title suggests they don't necessarily think people are going to be moved to change based on the song. For what it's worth, it's kind of like you're saying, here's my take on it, but
I could also see in that a kind of humility.
Good point.
I'm throwing something out there. Everyone's got their banners, everyone's got their signs, they're telling you what you ought to do, and let's float an idea out here. So I wonder if that's actually a healthy image.
So the lyrics couldn't be any more apropos for the day and age in which we live.
And it was written, it came out in,
76,
I was
73,
5 years old. 66.
66. Was that Vietnam era? Forgive me for not knowing. A
Um,
lot of protests going on in those days.
yes, I think it was probably in the heat of that. Again, my date counter gets
66. That's further back than I would have thought.
right.
Vietnam War.
Now I
Very
remember
curious when that happened.
the song. Yeah, it came out 66 or 67. I'm thinking the Hall of Fame edition is listed as 67.
Do you have any idea how long the Vietnam War lasted?
No.
20 years.
Oh gosh.
1955 to 1975. So this came out right in the middle of
Right
it.
in the middle.
Wow.
And there were some conflicting ideas about.
So that
Vietnam
war
War was
ended right
controversial.
before the Carter administration, which had been the Gerald Ford administration, which was actually the Nixon administration.
It was a mess.
It was a wow. So it's an interesting lyric, and I'm curious to get your take on it. There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly
There's
clear.
multiple fascinating lyrics, yes.
But the chorus says, "Stop! Hey, listen! What's that sound? Everybody, look what's going down. What's the sound, Roger? Or is it too early? Is it too soon?"
I don't know. I hadn't thought about that.
So
I love the
that's what
question.
stuck with me. Is he kept saying, "What's that sound? What's that sound? Something's going down. Are you seeing it? Are you?" It's almost reminding me of the verse that says, "God says, I'm doing something new. Do you not perceive it? Stop, listen. What's that sound?
Yeah.
There's a brook gurgling out of the ground. There's some water right over there." No, it's great. What it is isn't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me that I've got to beware. Okay, so the first thing he starts with is there's fear in culture. There's people saying we got to arm ourselves. You got to have guns. You know, better be ready. You've got to beware.
Right. Well, that line, so paranoia strikes deep. Into your heart it will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. Step out of line, the man come and take you away. But so it speaks to the power of fear and how it feels like everybody is resorting to the force of fear and the power of fear, to which the word of God speaks. Love does away with fear. Love is far more powerful than that. Love casts out fear. Fear can actually do the same thing. And to see now, even now in our culture, I'm talking about everybody, it's like the other side is going to ruin us all. It's you've got to beware. They're gonna.
I was thinking about the political slogans I'm hearing now. You'll hear the word protect a lot.
Yep.
We've got to protect. So
an enemy, like it's scary. These are people coming. They're coming after your kids. They're coming after your family. They're coming after.
This is being said. They're coming after your way of life.
It's
a threat to our way of life. So this is it. Oh, I didn't even think about this because I just 2 weeks ago finished the whole chapter on labels and why labels are unhelpful.
Bruce is in the process of writing a very needed book. Do you have the title yet?
Yeah, it's Undivided.
Undivided, but the subtitle
is probably going to be something like The Power of Positive Communication to Heal the Divide. Because the whole idea, the book's about communication. The book does not change anyone's political ideal, their theological beliefs, their sociological, none of that. But it is to change the way we communicate. So I even talked about historically where we used labels to create fear.
Mm-hmm.
So you start using words like enemy, threat to our way of life. Then you move to what I call demonizing things.
Right.
This is evil. This is an atrocity.
Savage.
Savage. Then you move to dehumanization. It's a virus.
Maybe that's savage. Yeah.
It's a virus.
Okay.
And so I talk about
a poison.
A poison. Well, I talk about how Hitler did it in Germany.
Yeah.
So it started with make Germany great again, and the idea was we've got to protect our way of life. We've got to protect the German way of life. What did he say was the threat to their way of life?
Right.
It was the Jews. So the first thing he did was make them the other. First, it goes from discrimination to demonization to dehumanization. Discrimination happened when he started calling they're them.
Yeah.
So we don't need to do business with them. They're taking our money. They're taking away our financial. Back to fear.
Right. So
they're taking our financial
It's
security.
not us. This is not a united Germany. This is now Germans versus Jewish Germans, or so that's a different.
Think about that. But you have to make them other than.
Right. It's a different. Yes, they're not us anymore.
And stuff that I did not even realize, Roger. There was a law that came down in the 30s. This is before the war.
Right.
The 30s, where no German could marry a Jew or have sexual relations with a Jew. This was built into the law that they wrote. So you're in the process of making them the other. It's discrimination.
Right.
So we're not going to do business with them. We can't marry them. And then there became the demonization. They're a threat.
Right.
They're a threat to our way of life. I can't even think of all the words. I wrote the chapter, but all the different words that were just demonizing Jewish people.
Right.
And then he started dehumanizing them.
Yeah.
They're a virus. They're tuberculosis. They're germs. And what do you have to do with all those things?
You eradicate germs,
them.
right? You don't want that. That's no good.
You wipe them out.
Right.
So it was why I said you got to be careful with labels. But all those labels are typically based on fear. There's some fear that's behind it. And so I would just encourage all of our listeners to, when you hear any political advertising, okay, because I'm going to take it beyond political in just a minute. Count how many times fear is used as the basis for this platform or this policy or this decision-making paradigm. Second, listen to every single commercial you hear, particularly about healthcare, but not just about healthcare, just any commercial, and pick out the number of times that the marketing tactic is fear.
Yep.
Fear of missing out, fear of losing, fear of not having, fear of not gaining. I mean, it's
fear of something being stolen,
fear of something being stolen,
taken from you.
Then go to your church and listen to whatever preaching is going on and see how much of it, just write down just how many times fear is used as a motivator. It's interesting to me because I used to think the opposite of fear was faith. I used to teach that because I do a whole series of talks called Fearless,
right?
Where the opposite of fear is not faith, it's love.
Yep.
Because there is no fear. And it's this beautiful passage in 1 John that says there is no fear in love. And what I argue in that talk is fear is the worst decision-making paradigm. And you have to deal with it ruthlessly.
Yep. Because you'll default.
We'll default to it.
Right.
Well, and it's even like you have people now, and again, paranoia creeps in. I love the way you put that.
Right.
And then it sort of settles in your heart.
Yeah.
So
and it's very, yes.
You're having more and more moves in culture. I'm not making any statement about the rightness or wrongness of this. I'm saying there are more moves in culture now toward prepping, if you're familiar with that term. We've got to be ready for, in case the whole thing falls apart, in case the whole financial system falls apart, in case whatever. So we're going to start. And there's
a long history. I mean, decades of history of prepping. Yes.
People putting cash in mattresses. Well, people are storing up cash again. People are storing up gold again. And it's just an interesting...
MREs.
Right. And of course, the funny thing about prepping is, unless you're homesteading, it's only going to last so long. I mean, unless you've got food, water, and shelter that's completely autonomous.
It makes you feel better and safer. And so where you even think about Jesus, there's this thing that love blows up trust, but blows up fear. But trust, Jesus would counter fear with just trust. So we'd say, you're afraid. You're afraid you're not going to have enough food. You're afraid you're not going to have enough clothing. Why do you worry? Fear. You're anxious about all these things.
And then he says, almost glibly, your Heavenly Father knows what you need. Listen before you ask.
Right.
Now, I think Jesus is saying that with a smile on his face. He's like, it's just trust. This thing that Roger and I were talking about a little bit before we got on, which we don't normally do, but he had to pick me up at a dealer car place because I'm getting my car worked on. So we had some time to talk about certain things. But it's this whole thing of, I realized, and this is an epiphany I had several years ago, I either trust God or I don't. I
Yeah.
can't sort of trust God.
Right. That's
It's
good.
not like I sort of trust God, but I don't really trust God. And it's like, but I think a lot of
Trust
people,
is an all-in word. Yes.
people are sort of that way with God. I trust Him for my eternal destiny, but I don't trust Him with my daughter's livelihood, or my child's health, or my work situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Roger, the song came to me this week, an old hymn,
Yeah.
that that talked about taking everything to the Lord in prayer. Said, "Oh, what peace we often forfeit! Oh, what needless pain we bear!
Yeah.
All because we do not carry it to the Lord in prayer."
Right.
It's this idea that it is a song about what Jesus said. Don't worry, don't worry about all that stuff. Now, Roger, on the list of things we have to have: food, water, clothing. Jesus doesn't even list shelter in there.
Yep.
But he says those things we have to have. And he says, but why are you worrying about those things?
Yeah.
Your Heavenly Father knows what you need.
Right.
And the other thing that I've been teaching lately, because I've been watching it in my own life, is that He not only knows what we need, He knows when we need it.
Yeah.
Now, typically, in my experience, I think I need it before He thinks I need it.
Right.
Like I need it sort of ahead of time, like it's like the whole
Right.
prepping idea. But God knows what I need when I need it. And I realize I'm preaching to myself right now, but how often do I end up worrying about something that God's already prepared in advance to take care of? And He's like, "What, Bruce? You're you're ruminating about all of these what ifs and will there be and will you know?"
Right.
And I'm like,
Right.
"No, God's got that. He knows what I need when I need it." So I just think I just think it'd be a great thing for me to do, for our listeners to do. Just start counting in your world all the places where fear is used as some sort of motivator, marketing ploy, and potentially a decision-making paradigm.
Yeah.
Because it's the worst paradigm to make decisions from. The best paradigm to make decisions from is trust. I trust the love of God.
And here's the thing. It's also the worst motivator or influencer. It's the easiest. It's the default. In other
It's
words,
the easiest. Oh, talk about
the
that.
fastest. I can get people to change fast. Again, force, fear. These are operating out of fast. Where trust is a long word. Once again, that's a. But if I want to get things, love is a long word. In other words, love has far more power to
Change the human heart.
right over time, but fear works faster. And so for the short term, fear feels more effective. What's breaking my heart right now, and I'm seeing this from whatever political persuasion, but I'm seeing so much seems in the church. We believe more in the power of fear than love. That actually we can change people's hearts, and even where they have flawed ideas, which we all have, are more likely to change with compassion and grace and listening. But we're resorting to threats and name calling as if this will be turning people into enemy. That so in the short term, it's what I realized even in the school environment we grew up in. The school environment we grew up in, the college we went to, believed in the power of fear. They were constantly you were trying to scare people into righteousness.
Right.
It's short term at best, because you can you got the threats. There's the the man will take you away. There's going to be some.
There's said for years the fear of hell will only work for a while.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't work a lifetime.
The transforming story of Jesus' love is what changes people. It's not that again the short term. Even the people you would remember, like okay, if you're sharing the gospel, but you're leading with fear and hell, whatever. How many people? I don't want to go there. What do I say? I say that. They say it, and then they're not following Jesus. They're not. They got the ticket out of hell somehow, or that was so. All we offer is fear. Nothing changed. But you talk about the story of the God who loves you dearly and wants to walk with you now. And if you enter into that love, you walk in, you can have peace, contentment, joy, trust, rest right now, even in a chaotic world. I realize, Bruce, like when I think about wanting people to know Jesus, I hardly ever think about what they could miss in the future.
Heaven or hell.
Heaven or hell. I'm thinking right now, you understand the only reason I have any joy and peace and contentment, and I do, I can rest in a world that is crazy. It's just but I can rest. I can.
It blurred you out.
Oh, a moment ago, you leaned back
great.
and you were talking to me. Your face left, and then you just look towards me, and anyway.
It doesn't.
So, um, but I like your word earlier. If we just pay attention, do I believe more in the transforming power of love? Whatever, even if I look at the other side, I look at the people and they're holding up the wrong signs and they're standing for the wrong things. You're not going to scare people out of those positions. You're going to love them into the way of Jesus. You're going to love them because the goodness of God leads us to repentance. Those are the things that change us. Fear doesn't lead us to repentance. It may lead to short-term behavioral change, but it doesn't transform.
So this is probably the biggest thing out of this podcast that's hitting me right now. Fear is the short game. You even use, so as a politician, you'll use fear to get elected, even though you might be promoting something that you know can't be done. In other words, fear does not offer a long-term solution to whatever the problem is. Fear moves the voter. Yeah, it just moves the voting.
It doesn't have to have a solution. It has its own weight in itself, right?
But we're going to protect, and the whole idea of it's back to trusting God, because I realize protection is a fluid concept. I mean, what is that? When we talk about, we live in a world that has insurances for insurances now.
Right. Supplemental insurance, the backup insurance,
gap insurance. There's this little loophole between these two insurances that you need to cover. So now, fear-based marketing says, not only do I need insurance, which I don't have, and I have not needed because God knows what I need when I need it, but it's like, and not only am I supposed to have the health insurance, but I should also have this gap insurance. And then now you have the Aflacs and all this other stuff,
right?
Which Marlene gets through her work, which is a supplemental insurance for things that insurance doesn't. And I'm like, protection is it's an interesting concept.
Well, and didn't Jesus say, isn't this part of when we started with that whole don't store up conversation? Stuff fades, stuff deteriorates, stuff gets stolen,
Roger, you're right.
It devalues.
He actually said it would. He said it was an if statement. He said we're often must destroy with thieves, break in and steal. He didn't even tell us the why behind that. Why is there rust? Why do moths eat our clothes?
And here, listen to what we're trying to do. We keep trying to prove Jesus wrong. No, I can make it with thieves, and all of these things are not just insurance, but we're going to do all these things. If I take just this right medication or just this right, I can control more things. And Jesus is just kind of graciously saying, you can control almost nothing.
Yeah.
You can insure a thing, but I had the wonderful, I remember that time when shortly after we were married, Joy and I had insurance. We had our first baby, and as soon as the baby was born, our insurance went bankrupt, which was just this beautiful telling story of, your insurance company go bankrupt. Your country could go bankrupt.
Some trust in horses, some trust in chariots. We trust in the name of the Lord our God. There's something about trust. Maybe it is trust that does overcome all of these fears. And I was talking to Roger before we got on, but I even want to, and I'll probably talk about this a little bit tonight with our small group, but I realize faith is it's almost become a mystical word or even a superstitious word now. Faith, or what kind of faith you have, how much faith you have, because Jesus talks about it's really not the quantity of faith. If you've got even a mustard seed of faith, you can move mountains with it. And I'm like, so the Greek word pistuo, literally means confidence. It's like absolute trust. Are you confident in God? And I realized I'm confident in God.
Yeah.
No matter what happens in this life, I'm confident in God. Now, what you brought out that I didn't think about is one of those wonderful. Jesus said, "In this world we'll have trouble."
Right.
Jesus points out in that particular story, oh, by the way, rust will destroy the things you have that are metal. Moss will eat the things you have that are clothing.
Wood, decay will get wood.
Thieves break in and steal. I was telling Roger.
The stuff that makes it.
Just this week, because gas prices are going so high, my truck is parked out by the road, which is a major road, Highway 231. It's a little US high. It's not like it's 2-lane, but it's a major thoroughfare.
This is great.
And I came out the other morning to take my truck into town and get some stuff, and it was on below E. And I'm like, oh my gosh, someone siphoned every bit of gas out of my tank. Now, what's funny is there's no lock. It's a 2004 truck, so there's no
Right.
locks on or anything like that. The cars that we have are both 2016 and above, so they have locking.
There's nothing.
You can't get into them.
Right.
If the car's locked, you can't get into the gas tank. But I realized it's, we can't protect stuff. I guess I could put a locking gas cap on the old Tundra.
Or you could get some kind of an alarm system, maybe some gasoline insurance. I don't know.
I wonder if you could get I wonder if that's covered under comprehensive. I had gas stolen out of my truck.
We are so. It's almost like there's just every level, guys. I've been telling you this.
The thing is, the better way to live is we don't fear anything.
Right.
We literally don't fear anything. Jesus would say, I think glibly again, don't worry about those that can kill your body.
Right.
I don't know, that seems like a big deal to me.
But
Don't worry about those that can kill the body.
here's what I love about Jesus. Everything he said, he did. Now you think about it.
Yeah. He didn't worry about those that can kill the body.
We're celebrating this week, the last week of Jesus' life. We're remembering. So we're right at this pivot. This is Wednesday of the week, whatever, and things are really getting hairy and whatever. Jesus calm. And so even where this point, he's before the Sanhedrin. He's not saying anything. He's not saying anything. He gets before Pilate. He's told, and it's absolute confidence. Peter said later, he entrusted himself to the one who judges us. And when you trust, when you say, he wasn't afraid of the ones who could kill the body. He trusted the one who made the body. So he's just trusting the Father. In other words, he perfectly lived. This is what's so beautiful about Jesus. It wasn't just these nice, flowery, these things he would say. They would seem insane, but then he showed us how they work in even every day. Like he was this itinerant. He would go around. He was living day to day on a daily. He was just trusting, spending time with the Father. But it gets now his life is threatened. And here's the funny thing. Like you can't control a fearless person.
Mm-mm.
So in other words,
great point.
Pilate comes in. What I see in that last week, people are picking up all the tools. Pilate says, "Well, this one always works. You realize I have the power to take your life.
Yeah, you can.
No, not really. You're not. Yeah. Jesus is on. So money is changing hands. You got religious leaders. They're paying money. So the power of money, and Jesus is showing the power of trusting God is greater than all of it. That he lived all those things he said. He showed that it's not pie in the sky. This is not. He did it.
So, and it is because I wrote this down on my notes this morning, because Dallas Willard was talking about even leaders that try to use. I've heard from God, so you have to do this thing, you have to behave. Because he talks about difference in being a cultic leader or a Christ-like leader. The cultic leader wants everyone just to do what he said because he said, I've got a word from God. He said, but Jim Jones said he had a word from God.
Right.
All right. So you don't just go with that. But it was this whole idea of, he said, instead, don't lord it over people. He said, be an example to the flock. And I'm like, well, that's what Jesus said.
Yeah.
He said, don't lord over people. Instead, serve people. Serve one another in love. You can't threaten a fearless person. You can't control a fearless person.
You can't bribe them.
You can't bribe them. I mean, because that would be the fear of missing out.
Right.
I'll miss out on this money, this good thing if I don't do it.
Yep.
But years ago, when I prayed, like at the last church that I pastored, where Jesus says at the end of the day, before he ascends into heaven, he says, baptize disciples in the name of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and teach them to obey everything I've commanded. I'm like, how do you teach people to obey without controlling, without trying to control behavior? Jesus said this thing, you got to do this thing. And I just felt like God gave me 2 words. He said, model it. So when I heard this morning, the Apostle Paul saying, being an example of flock, like that's you just model it.
Yes.
In other words, more important than any words that we say about Jesus and about following Jesus, how we live our life makes the biggest difference to the people that we serve. Makes the biggest difference to our children, to our grandchildren, to our spouses, to our to anyone that interacts with us. I can say all the right things, and I'm pretty good about saying the right things. But ultimately, the way that I live my life is what changes people's ideas about things.
lead with your life before your words. That's the whole thing. Even where Peter would say, set apart Jesus as Lord, and then be ready. Then words come into play. Then be ready to give an answer to everyone. What happens? People are looking, saying,
and that was something Jesus taught him. It was like, hey,
yeah,
by the way, you're gonna be brought before councils and Sanhedrins and kings and powerful people. And said, don't even worry about what you're gonna say. Like the night before while you're in prison, don't be rehearsing your talk.
yeah,
He
he's
said,
give you what you need.
the Holy Spirit will give you what you need in that moment. Now I can imagine if I'm in jail and I'm about to go before the Sanhedrin, I'll be thinking through my talk.
What's the speech? I need to get this right.
Well, and it's something I thought about last week, even in that 2012 season when we were going through the whole, what I would describe as the church split
Okay.
in that season of
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And there was a lot of accusations flying, coming back to our sign, lines were being drawn.
Right.
There were lines were being drawn. And what God told me multiple times during that whole season was, don't say a word.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't even think about it until you just said that. When Jesus went before Pilate,
Silence.
silence.
And
He's not defending himself.
and it was unsaid.
He was agreeing with Pilate when Pilate got it right. Are you the king of the Jews? You've said it. He's just like,
No, he's either not saying anything or barely saying anything, which is very disarming because it really is like fear needs words. What we're using fear is it's if you think of world leaders, what about it's we're using words, we're threatening,
Yeah.
we're negotiating, but someone who's not like silence is unsettling. Like this is someone who is totally at rest. They don't have to, they're not frantic. Because here's what you can motivate frantic people, you can motivate desperate people, but when someone's quiet, they're not worried about their reputation, they're not worried about their life. They're not when someone is fully trusting God and resting, it's very unsettling because none of the normal weapons,
right.
You can't bribe them, you can't scare them, you can't guilt them, you can't, all of the things we pick up that are fast. You want to make things happen fast, pull out money. You want to make something happen, pull out fear, a threat, a gun, whatever. You get out, you can make things happen. But
perfect love casts out all fear. There is no fear in love because fear has to do with punishment. It's this idea of something bad, something ominous, something looming. I'm going to miss something. I'm going to be hurt by something. But there is no fear in love. There's no fear in trust. I mean, I've got to spend some time thinking about this thing because I've got to work that into my talk. It's so good.
yeah,
A person who is fearless cannot be controlled by anyone or anything.
No.
Except God. In other words, they just surrendered to God.
Right.
Jesus was completely surrendered to the Father's will. He's like, even the night he's going to be betrayed, he's like, okay, I would rather not do this, but I trust you. Your will be done.
At every point, there was trust. He trusts himself to want to judge justly. He asks if there's any way this can happen. Nevertheless, your will, I'm going to go with that. When he's on the cross, Father, into your hands. I use this phrase now all the time. This is one of my tricks. Into your hands, I entrust my kids. Into your hands, I entrust my Father. Into your hands, I commit
my spirit, my life.
Even if I go to bed at night, I don't know what's going to. I entrust my health to you. I entrust my wife to you. I entrust my kids. I entrust my neighbors. I entrust my business, which could go away to
That's so good, Roger. The last time I said that was in 2004 before I jumped off a 52-foot cliff.
Well, you've got to work that into a talk.
I do work into a talk. It's a funny story. No, I literally
yes.
I finally jumped. I'm like, okay, Lord, into your hands I commend my spirit. I'm like, in case this goes bad, I am trusting you.
Right.
But whatever. But I'm like, what you just said is so powerful. We do that if we do that every day. In other words, trust, Roger, also has trust has behaviors associated to it. Trust isn't just this ideal in our mind.
Yeah.
That's a very practical way. How do you incorporate trust? Well, tonight when I'm going to bed, I'm entrusting my kids to God. I'm entrusting my work to God. Yep. I'm entrusting my marriage to God.
All these
beautiful. All these things that I could potentially worry about.
All these things I try to ensure, protect, keep out of harm's way, fix. No, I can leave all those. It's the ultimate expression of I can't really fix anything. I can't even fix myself. I mean, I've given that a lot of shot. It has not gone well. All these things I can commit to, and it's a very okay, and I can leave in his hands. And so I don't have to then. It's the opposite of trying to protect. It's now, even if we think everything around us is saying you've got to protect your stuff. Well, what if you just hand it over to God and let God be your insurance agent? Let him. Like, I'm not making a final statement about everyone should, cancel all your insurance.
I want to make it. It's Roger on the podcast. No, okay. So coming back to the song, maybe finishing with this.
Finish with the song. Take us out.
Well, of course, the whole chorus, he says it over and over again. Stop, listen. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. I think the sound is fear. The battle lines are being drawn on these fear, the protests. If everybody's wrong, then nobody's right. It's this whole.
That's another great line.
Right. We didn't even have time.
We didn't even get into right. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong.
But I want us to be listening for the sounds of fear. And then I want us to listen. I want us to reject them.
Yeah.
Just reject them. And anything that creates or provokes fear in you, immediately, what Roger says so good, commend that to the Father. I'm entrusting that to you, God. This thing that I could potentially worry about financially, in terms of my job, in terms of my children. I realize that's one of my, it's just, whoa, we worry about our kids.
Sure. And grandkids now.
It's just one more thing.
Right.
To entrust to God.
Yeah.
So anytime you feel fear, worry, anxiety about a thing, a situation, a person, a relationship, man, take that moment, listen to that sound.
Yeah.
See it for what it is. That's fear.
Yep.
And then entrust it to God.
Yeah, I like that.
Commit that back to God.
Yeah.
What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. Instead of just entrusting it to God, who's always there.
And I think what happens out of that is, sorry to ruin your lovely poem.
I was going to finish with the poem.
So sorry. But what flows out of that then is I don't have to operate out of fear. So once I've entrusted, I've laid that down as a weapon. So with other people, I don't have to use fear anymore. Now, why don't we work out of trust and love? Why don't we work out of believing the best, trusting, and now it's trying to stop trying to change people. Anyway, your poem was a better finish, but
that was good.
I did.
I'll pick a better song next week.
Yeah, I've ruined the whole podcast.
I don't know.
I'm so sorry. This is awful.
We're probably going to lose all of our listeners, Raj.
Yeah.
It's bad.
All of them.